Hi, this is Gina with Perfectly Imperfect Crafts by Gina. So this video is to support Jenny's Crafty Corner. She created hashtag Wing It Wednesday, and it's the first Wednesday of every month, but I'm a week behind. I just had so much going on. And basically what she likes to promote is if you have something that you have in your craft room that you haven't used before, that you want to share with others. So I definitely have lots of projects. You may notice I have some toilet paper rolls and I have paper towel rolls, and I've been collecting them and I kept telling myself I need to do something with it. So I decided, why not a mini journal? So I'm going to show you how I made the mini journal, but before I do that, I'm going to show you what I created. The first three of these are actually from the paper towel holder. Let me explain why. This is wider. Now I know this is curly. What I usually just get the iron and then I just iron it out. I fold it and then I scored it. So then that way I can add signatures. And that's what I did with these three. Another thing I did was I did different type of designs for the bling at the end. But this is basically like we all make, just journals with signatures in them. So go ahead and show you the pages, and I'm going to fast forward it, but I'm going to explain the first page on what I did. So on the front page, I went ahead and cut some paper up, and then I edged it at the bottom, and then I added stickers that I had that pertain to a book, because it says life is a book. So I left this side blank to add memories. Okay, let me go ahead and fast forward, and you're going to see all the cute stickers. Okay, that is it for this mini journal. Okay, now let's go on to the next mini journal. So for this binding, I did something different. I had these stones and I thought, oh, okay, I'll add them on there. So it's a different look. And for this, I actually use leftover stickers, washi tape, whatever I could find. And I ended this really nice washi tape that I got from Temu. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and just fast forward it. Okay, that is it for this one. I'm not done with this one, and I'll explain why. So I added lines. This one has like a floral theme, and I like to add lines to journal the memory. And all I do is get a ruler, line it up, and then draw lines. I like to do different colors, so I use these markers. So you'll see how I started doing that, and I still need to complete it. So let's go ahead and do a fast forward. Okay, you may have noticed that I missed a couple of pages, so this one is still a work in progress. I did forget to show you the binding on that other one. I just got the 8 strings and I made a braid, and then I added this key at the bottom and just wrapped it around with some more of the, I think this is wax thread, and then that way it just leaves a really secure little key there at the end. Now I'm going to share the mini journal that I made with a toilet paper roll. Okay, first I'm going to show you the final product, and then I'll show you how I created it. For this mini journal, you actually have to score the pages, and I like this technique because the pages come out flat. So as I fast forward this design, you will see how the pages are straight. I also added another key here, and then also this little piece of turquoise nugget I had. And the theme for this mini journal is coffee. I found this sentiment. It says, work hard, dream big. Okay, now let me go ahead and do a fast forward. And that is it for this mini journal. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how easy it is to make one of these. Okay, you have your toilet paper rolls. All you have to do is cut in a straight line, and then you get a perfect size for the top and the bottom part of the cover. The next thing I do, I like to score it. So I score it at about 1/2 inch. And then the next thing I do is I get the number of papers that I want to include in this. This is only 20 pages. When you go more than 20 pages, it doesn't open and close as smooth. And how I measure the holes, I get my ruler. And this is a lot of, eyeballing it. So this isn't quite 4.5 inches, but I'll just eyeball it. And I say, okay, well, half of that will be 2 1/4. So I'll dot my first hole there. And normally I go out 1 inch because this is small. I went out 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch to the top, 3/4 towards the bottom, and then I punch in my holes. I do the paper first because it doesn't always align perfectly if you do the covers first. And sometimes I'll add a little T here with the pencil mark just so I can make sure that they're aligned correctly. The next thing I do is I grab my top cover and I'll eyeball it again. I want it to be center, and then I'll draw a little pencil mark to match the holes on the paper, and then I'll punch the holes. And here you have is the start of your mini journal. I won't sew it in until I decorate the page. You want to decorate the page first and then you sew it in. So let's just pretend I decorated the page, and I'll show you how I do the stitch. Now you can either do the stitch from the top like I did for this one, or you have the strings hanging here, and then you can add some cute gems that you have laying around. So for this one, I'm going to start in the middle so I can show you what I mean. So before I start to thread it, I will show you how I measure my string. I always like to add more, and I do it in sets of 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And there's still a tail left over, which is okay because it's better to have more thread than less because you never want to run out. Okay, let me go ahead and thread the needle, and I'll show you what I do next. After you thread it, what I like to do is I want to make sure all my holes are aligned. So I'll just line them up, and then I'll put my needle through there just to make sure there's room for me to go in and out. And I kind of jiggle it around and make the hole a little bit wider. So once I know that those holes are lined pretty well, I'll go ahead and clamp it, or I'll use some binder clips just to hold it all together while I sew it. That just keeps the pages from moving around. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm starting from the middle, so you pull it through. Sometimes you have to just move it around just to get the thread through, and you want to leave a little tail. So I'm doing a cross stitch, so then the next thing I'm going to do is go over and around, and you just pull it through again, jiggle it a little just to get that thread through, and then you come back around and you go through the top hole. Pull it out. When you come back around through the holes, you want to leave it snug but not too tight, because then your pages will be just bundled. Now we're going to go back the other way. You're going to try not to go through the thread, because when you do that it gets tangled. So try to angle your needle like on the outside of the previous thread. Now we're going to go back through the middle. And there's times when you just need to pull your thread through and then extend out the needle. Okay, now I'm going back around through the same holes. Okay, now you're at the last hole. So instead of going through that hole, you just want to tuck it under like this, and then you tie your knot. Pull the needle off, and then just double tie the knot. And then this is where you can adjust the length of the threads, and then you can add whatever bling you want. So it's that simple. Now I will recommend just making sure those holes are wide enough when you put it through. The first time you do it, it'll seem very frustrating because you're trying to get that needle and the thread through the hole. But just make that hole wide enough that it can go through comfortably with the needle and the thread. So thank you so much for watching this all the way to the end. I greatly appreciate you. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That helps me as I'm growing my channel. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. I want to thank Jenny for having this hashtag, because yes, I do have so much stuff laying around. And her video motivated me to use my paper towel rolls that I've been collecting for months. So thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful day, and take care. Bye. Bye-bye.